Gamers really do have an active imagination, and as a result, it's created many popular theories that just aren't true. Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 video game myths.
They're clever bastards. Some of them wear orange so that people will think they're hunters. Let's go this way.
Sasquatches, huh?
Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Number 20. The Sky Temple, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time was the biggest name in gaming in the late 90s and early 2000s, and it came with a laundry list of unfounded myths. Perhaps the most famous is the elusive Sky Temple. According to the legend, in the early 2000s, players could reach this otherwise inaccessible Sky Temple by placing a bomb in the lava pit under Ganon's castle. It resurfaced in 2010 when user Rusty Sporks uploaded a video to YouTube claiming to have glitched his way into the so-called Sky Temple. Of course, it was all nonsense. There is no such temple in the game, and you wasted hours of your precious life trying to find it. Sorry. Number 19. Crossbow, Assassin's Creed. The thing with trailers, especially ones shown at E3, is that they often give players a false and unrepresentative view of the finished game. Case in point, Assassin's Creed. A crossbow could be seen in the E3 trailer, leading many players to believe that it could be found and wielded within the game itself, especially seeing as the trailer was reused as the game's introduction video. The rumor that you could unlock the crossbow persisted, but no amount of gameplay completion could unlock it because it wasn't there. According to the Assassin's Creed wiki, the weapon had been removed prior to the game's launch because Ubisoft wanted to keep the game as historically accurate as possible.
I know.
And stay your tongue.
Number 18. Lavender Town Syndrome, Pokémon Red and Blue. We're not going to deny that Lavender Town is scary, because it is pure nightmare fuel that has us rushing through it as quickly as humanly possible. But it didn't kill Japanese children. The story goes that the iconic Lavender Town music contained a frequency that cannot be heard by adults, and this frequency caused hundreds of Japanese children to commit suicide. It doesn't really make much sense, but it doesn't have to, because it was nothing but a well-told creepypasta. Unfortunately, creepypasta turned to urban legend turned to story going viral, and soon everyone was freaking out about the so-called Lavender Town Syndrome. Trolls strike again. Number 17. The Triforce, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Remember when we said that Ocarina of Time had a laundry list of myths? Yeah, we weren't kidding. The myth that you could obtain the Triforce mostly stemmed from the picture of the Triforce in the spiritual medallions. The myth was greatly exacerbated in 1999 when a player named Ariana Almendaz shared a screenshot of her allegedly obtaining the weapon. She also claimed that you needed to enter the fake Temple of Light and play a new song on the ocarina called the Overture of Sages. After some questioning and sleuthing, she admitted that she had faked the entire thing, but not before she had sent the entire gaming community into an absolute frenzy. Number 16. Kill Switch. Allegedly released in 1989, Kill Switch was set to be a horror adventure game that had you playing as Porto, a woman who wakes up in a hellish coal mine and battles her way through demons and zombie miners. The reason you've never heard of it is because the game supposedly and conveniently deleted itself and all of its files from existence right after being completed, meaning no one had any proof that they had played it. Furthermore, only 5,000 copies were supposedly made, further lending to the game's incredible rarity. Of course, the real reason that you've never heard of it is because it never existed in the first place. Fun story though. Number 15. Cheat Cheese, Perfect Dark. As their follow-up to the FPS classic GoldenEye, Rare packed Perfect Dark with so much content that it was bound to start theories. Yet undoubtedly the biggest myth stemmed from a peculiar dairy product. In every single player mission in the game, a wedge of cheese can be found hidden somewhere in the level. They cannot be interacted with or picked up, and shooting them does nothing. With this discovery, dozens of rumors started spreading about what their intention was, with the most popular theory being that they were an unfinished collectible quest, intended to unlock a secret cheat or level that never got implemented. It wasn't until 2016 that artist B. Jones finally solved the mystery. It was the level editor Ross Burry's signature. Sometimes the myth is better than the truth.
In every level he went into subsequently when he edited it, he put a wedge of cheese in it, and that is his signature.
Number 14. Blowing into cartridges. Those of us who grew up in the 80s and 90s know about this all too well. Way back in the day, video games came in cartridge form, and sometimes they didn't load. Usually, this resulted in you or your friend taking the cartridge out, blowing out the dust, and trying again. And yes, this actually worked. Sorta. What actually worked was you readjusting the cartridge and allowing it to properly align in the console. What didn't work was the actual act of blowing into the cartridge. This did absolutely nothing. In fact, it actually made the situation worse, as the moisture you exhaled into the cartridge damaged the copper and corroded the pin connectors. Myth busted.
There, I blew on it. And it works.
Number 13. The Madden Curse.
Newton on first down. And that is incomplete.
This is easily one of the most popular theories in modern gaming. The legend states that any football player gracing the cover of Madden will suffer a significant injury or decrease in performance the following year. For example, star quarterback Michael Vick fractured his fibula only a week after Madden NFL 2004 was released and missed 11 games of the regular season. Of course, many players haven't suffered from the curse, including Tom Brady, Odell Beckham Jr., and Calvin Johnson, who actually had a record-setting season during his cover year. But you never hear about them, do you? Of course not, because it doesn't make for a cool and somewhat creepy story. Like all supposed curses, we chalk this up to coincidence and nothing more. Don't worry, Patrick Mahomes, you'll be fine. Oh, you had an ankle injury? Next entry.
And he'll go down. The Bears get there for the sack.
Number 12. The 17th Colossi, Shadow of the Colossus. For as beautiful and majestic as the game's 16 Colossi are, the fact that the game was originally intended to have 48 Colossi had players for years searching for the possibility of a hidden 17th one. There were multiple theories as how to find this hidden being, from building your grip strong enough to climb the Shrine of Worship, to the ring in the desert actually being a stargate to reach the mythical Colossi. Yet, no matter how much players searched, no such Colossi could be found, and data mining has since squashed this rumor as there are no assets of any sort that hints at any Colossi outside the standard 16. Number 11. The Battle.net Gem.
If you're still alive then, I'll take you along.
It's amazing what one little button can do. Back in the day, the Battle.net chat contained an adorning blue gem that users quickly discovered was clickable. Upon clicking, you would be treated to a message like gem activated or gem deactivated. Countless myths and stories were created regarding what the button actually did, and Blizzard leaned heavily into this debacle, stating, quote, "We cannot reveal the purpose or function of the gem," end quote. After one long and torturous year had passed, they ended the matter with another non-answer by saying, quote, "It does what it does, it works perfect every time, and that is what we have always said," end quote. So, there you have it. Blizzard are the biggest trolls in the game, confirmed.
This cave has been purged of evil.
Number 10. All Bonds, GoldenEye 007. GoldenEye 007 contained a slew of playable characters in its multiplayer mode, but what it didn't have were all the different bonds. But it wasn't for lack of trying. Electronic Monthly Gaming started a rumor that you could unlock all the bonds by completing Aztec in less than 9 minutes on 007 difficulty. Not only that, but all the customizable enemy settings needed to be placed on the highest difficulty. It sounds sadistic, and it was, because it was nothing more than the magazine's annual April Fool's joke. Or it was until it was later discovered that Rare had intended to include 4 James Bonds, but were forced to remove them due to rights issues. Number 9. Saddam Hussein was using PS2s to launch chemical weapons.
Why not a couple of pictures and then go home? Anybody you recognize here? Nah.
Oh my god, the mainstream media really hates gaming, don't they? If video games aren't causing riots, shootings, and states of emergency, they're being used by Iraq in high-grade military weapons. No, we're not making that up. Back in 2000, roughly 4,000 PS2s were imported to Iraq. A rumor quickly spread that Saddam Hussein was linking up 15 PS2 chips to create a supercomputer powerful enough to guide a chemical warhead. This sounds like something you'd read on The Onion, but it was 100% real. A source close to the UK government intelligence hilariously stated that this rumor was complete cobblers. Yup, that about sums it up.
They're mechanical bulls! Got the remote control! Oh, yeah!
Number 8. Shenlong, Street Fighter 2. And here we have another rumor spread by misinformation. The name Shenlong comes from a mistranslation of Ryu's quote, "If you cannot overcome the Shoryuken, you cannot win." Thanks to some translation fumbles, this turned into, "You must defeat Shenlong to stand a chance." People naturally assumed that a character named Shenlong was in the game, and Electronic Gaming Monthly created another April Fool's prank around the myth. Other sources around the world reprinted EGM's joke as a fact, and the Shenlong rumor had quickly spread worldwide. EGM later admitted that this whole thing was a joke and stated that they never expected it to be taken as fact and spread around the world. Number 7. Ermac, Mortal Kombat. The story behind Ermac is very similar to that of Shenlong, just not as funny. An audit screen in the diagnostics menu of Mortal Kombat displayed a macro reading Ermax, a contraction of Error Macro. This kickstarted a rumor that the game contained a hidden character named Ermac, and the rumor was perpetuated by our old pals Electronic Gaming Monthly when they published a convincing photo taken by one Tony Casey. In the photo, a red ninja, actually just Scorpion, was seen posing under a victory banner reading Ermac wins. While the photo was doctored, fans were absolutely convinced that Ermac was in the game. It wasn't until Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 that Midway leaned into the rumor and introduced Ermac to the roster.
Ermac wins.
Number 6. You Can Revive Aerith, Final Fantasy VII. Even to this day, rumors persist that you can either revive Aerith or prevent her death entirely. The rumor was seemingly proven when someone claiming to work for Squaresoft gave everyone the formula for saving her. You needed to learn the restore spell by leveling up the cure materia, then find a unique underwater materia that allowed you to save Aerith. But that's certainly not the only one, as you could write a book containing all of the different ridiculous theories. But that's the thing, they're all ridiculous, and there's absolutely no way to save or revive Aerith. Sad, we know, but that's life. Number 5. Mew's Truck, Pokémon Red and Blue. Mew fever was a phenomenon back in the days of OG Pokémon, as everyone scoured the game looking for the elusive creature. And it supposedly hid where no one could think to look, under a truck. The truck could be found on a ledge near the SS Anne in Vermilion City, and players needed to use Surf in order to access the ledge. You then needed to use Strength on the truck, which would either reveal Mew or a secret layer where Mew could be found. This seemed logical, as accessing the truck's location was a bit of a headache that required some clever workarounds. Surely, the game would reward such hard work and ingenious thinking, but it didn't. The rumor was total nonsense. Number 4. Bigfoot, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Shoot me, human! I just did.
The myth of the San Andreas Bigfoot closely mirrors the real legend. It can supposedly be found wandering the woods, and people have spent literal hours scouring the wilderness in the hopes of catching the furry monster. The myth was created in the midst of the hot coffee controversy, as players believed that the game contained more hidden content. It also didn't help that some players were posting doctored screenshots online, and modders began adding Bigfoot into the game, further lending credence to the myth. Even to this day, the idea of Bigfoot wandering the woods remains a popular one, even though Rockstar themselves had poked fun at the myth by referencing Bigfoot in some of their later titles.
Perfectly normal to admit to being aroused role-playing dressed as a fantastical beast.
Number 3. Unlock Luigi, Super Mario 64. Mario can usually be seen with his trusty green brother Luigi. It makes sense then that some people believed you can unlock Luigi in Mario's masterpiece. After all, how could he miss out on such a seminal video game? Many players were drawn to the Eternal Star, which some people were convinced read L is real 2401. Like the myth surrounding Aerith, a Stephen King novel's worth of instructions were written telling players how to unlock Luigi, and N64.com offered $100 to the person who could prove that Luigi was in the game. Alas, no one ever claimed the money because Luigi was never there in the first place. That said, Nintendo did plan to include him, but he was scrapped due to memory issues. Number 2. Nude Code. Tomb Raider.
Right. Now I'd better take off these wet clothes.
This just goes to show that gamers have always been thirsty for Lara Croft, even if 1996 Lara was just a giant blob of pixels. Back in the day, some people created what was called the Nude Raider patch, which allowed players to play as a naked Lara Croft. This also led to beliefs that the game contained a cheat code that resulted in Lara shedding her clothing. Apparently, you needed to enter the pool in the Croft mansion and enter specific button inputs. Nearly all of the inputs did nothing, though one code released by Code Design themselves in the sequel made Lara explode. There was never a nude code, and Eidos Interactive successfully secured the domain to nuderaider.com after sending cease and desist letters to its owners.
Don't you think you've seen enough?
Number 1. Polybius. The rumor of the mythical Polybius machine began in 2000 when an entry for the fictitious arcade machine was added on coinop.org. Supposedly, Polybius was a mysterious arcade cabinet that randomly appeared in Portland in 1981. The game proved highly addictive, and several players were afflicted with amnesia, night terrors, and vivid hallucinations. The Men in Black were also said to visit the machines to study the game's psychoactive effects on its players. And only 1 month later, they completely disappeared, never to be seen or heard from again. It's an admittedly great story, but as far as anyone can tell, a story is all it is. Check out these other great clips from MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.